So, audio and video fine, right? Team, please tell me.
Yes, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So uh, yesterday we were dealing with border management. We started with border management with respect to Pakistan, and we have ended with Sri Lanka. All right. So border management. So what are the five factors we are seeing? Like we are seeing five factors starting from the geography, the historical evolution of borders, the socio-economic ethnic transactions, and the economic and political situation of the country, and lastly the crime pattern. All right. So it is not that like in that pattern only. That is for a convenience, for the sake of convenience, for a better understanding. We have kept it like that. All right. Fine. So yesterday we have learned a lot of new terms: LOC, AGPL, deep state, incursion, insurgency, geopolitics, geostrategy, infiltration, the differences, and what is the difference between migrant and refugee. All right. So a lot of new terminologies we learned yesterday. All right. And so today we'll start with Bangladesh. All right. So today, like, is there any doubt with respect to yesterday's class? Any doubts you have? Can we go ahead with the next one? Okay, today we'll start with Bangladesh. All right, so we'll start with Bangladesh now. Not Haven. Myanmar also we'll see. Don't worry. So we haven't started with Myanmar right yesterday. I said like we'll start, but because first we'll finish off the biggest one. Like so, Bangladesh will take more time than Myanmar, so we'll start with Bangladesh today. All right. Yesterday I thought of starting with Myanmar since we had time, but fine. So I'll start writing right now. So write down Indo-Bangladesh border management. Indo-Bangladesh border management. Okay, we'll start with the factors. What is the first factor we have to see? The first one we have to see is the geography. Now, geography, first of all, I said no, you have to see the states. What are the states? Tell me. What are the states which are bordering India, Bangladesh? Tell me, guys. Always tell in an order. Like here in this case, don't go from go clockwise. Start from West Bengal. Starting from West Bengal, we go to clockwise. All right. Okay, West Bengal. Good. Okay, West Bengal. People saying Nagaland. Okay, how come Nagaland shares a border? Okay, West Bengal. Next comes Assam, the clockwise, and then comes Meghalaya. Good. And next comes Tripura and also Mizoram. There is no Manipur, there is no Nagaland, Arunachal. All right. These are the states. And what about the geography of these states? The geography of these states, West Bengal, you see, again, riverine plains, certain rivers as well as riverine plains. And in the case of Assam, it is mostly rivers. So this is very important. Mostly rivers as well as riverine plains. And in Meghalaya, it is hilly areas as well as forest areas. Tripura, you see there is plains plus rivers, not much actually, but majorly plains. Mizoram again it is hills plus forest. All right, so it is more or less a kind of a what we can say a difficult as well as different terrain. So it is also what a different terrain, a varied terrain, as well as a difficult terrain to manage the borders. A difficult terrain to manage the borders. You see, among these states, which has the maximum boundary. So first of all, what is the total boundary? What is the total boundary? How much is the total boundary? 4096 kilometers. All right, the total is 4096. Out of which has the maximum? It is West Bengal, which has the maximum. I'm giving approximate numbers only. I'm giving approximate numbers. 2200 kilometers West Bengal, 263 kilometers Assam, 440 kilometers Meghalaya, 850 kilometers Tripura, 300 kilometers Mizoram. No need to by heart it. No need to by heart it. But there is a point I would like to make by referring to the number of kilometers, the length. Why? Because the first significance is that like India Bangladesh border, this is in fact the longest. India shares longest border with respect to any neighboring country. More than China, more than Pakistan, India shares more border than its counterpart. All right. Sorry, I don't say don't not than its counterpart. It is India shares its maximum boundary with Bangladesh as a neighbor. I mean, and out of this longest, that is mean I mean 4096 kilometers. Out of which, when I speak about the geography, out of this one, some 420 kilometers. 420 kilometers. There is non-feasibility of physical barriers. Non-feasibility of physical barriers. All right. Physical barriers or physical fencing is not possible there. You can say approximately 10 percentage. An approximate 10 percentage of the total borders, and that too mostly in Assam. That is the most. In addition to Assam, like few areas like you can say in a line of control near to Pakistan, and few areas in deserts also. All right, deserts like that is. I'm sorry, not in desert. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was speaking about the smart fencing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Like I was generally speaking about smart fencing, so I made a mistake. All right. So, but mostly here, this non-feasibility is in the case of Assam. All right. Maritime boundary. Why it is maritime boundary? No, we share a land boundary. Maritime boundary it is not there. Maritime boundary means like it comes definitely like there is a shore and near to that shore is there. But here we concerned about that like here. All right. That maritime boundary comes in West Bengal. Like there is Bay of Bengal that is not required here, because the one which we saw yesterday is about like the coastal area only, not the kind of maritime boundary. The 7,500 kilometers coastal area, fine. And next is, so while giving the answers, like we got to deal with smart fencing. So keep in mind, or when you have time, you just go through the smart fencing concepts. Smart fencing basically, there are two schemes actually. One is CIBMS. CIBMS stands for Comprehensive Integrated border management system, comprehensive integrated border management system. As a part of that, we have one more concept which is called as bold quit. Bold quit. So bold quit means border electronically dominated QRT interception technique. Border electronically dominated QRT. QRT stands for quick response team. Quick response team interception technique. So these two things we'll discuss in detail when we are dealing with the measures for border management. At the end of all these things, like we'll deal that. But whenever you have time, please go through the CABMS and bold quit. All right, CABMS and go bold quit. Please go through that. Fine. So this is about the border management. So borders, I said, like we have a difficult terrain as well as a different terrain. All right, so that itself makes border management very difficult, and especially the 10% of the borders. And one more thing which is related to this one, you see some shares approximately 5% of the total borders with Bangladesh, whereas West Bengal shares more than 50%. But in fact, like compared to West Bengal, Assam faces more problem because of illegal migrants, is it not? So this is something you have to keep in mind. Like we'll discuss the reasons why it is so much more there. All right, we'll discuss that also. Okay, the second one. Now we are going to deal with what is the second factor? Second factor is you're supposed to deal with the historical evolution of borders as well as the legal status, as well as the legal status of borders. So as far as the historical evolution of borders are concerned, all right, historical evolution of borders are concerned, like India Bangladesh border, they are demarcated and they are delineated. So demarcation is done. That is meaning no dispute. So we have international boundary. All right. So this is based on a series of agreements. India and Bangladesh engaged in a series of agreements. All right. So starting from Nehru Noon Accord, of 1958, Indira Gandhi Sheikh Mujibur Rahman Pact of 1972, the Land Boundary Agreement of 1974, Protocol to the Land Boundary Agreement in 2011, and related to this, we have, with respect to India, this is not a bilateral agreement, the 100th Constitutional Amendment Act. The 100th Constitutional Amendment Act 2015. You see, all these things are related to, these three things are related to The exchange of enclaves. I hope you must have studied this enclaves issue in bilateral, is it not? A territory within the territory. All right, that is what. So India, Bangladesh. Fine, you can like you need not know the differences. Like so, it's almost the same thing only. Agreement, pact, accord. All right, it's all same thing only. All right, there is not much of a difference. Protocol is an addition to the agreement, like convention. All these things carry the same meaning. Not much of a difference. And see, enclaves means what is the enclave like? So there will be an Indian territory, and within the Indian territory, there will be Bangladeshi territory, and within that there may be again Indian territory. This might be all right. So this sort of arrangement is there because of the administrative reasons. All right, but speaking that like India has exchanged a lot of enclaves. India has given up some 111 enclaves to Bangladesh, and in fact exchanged some 50 enclaves from that. In fact, India has lost some parts of territory only, but that is like no, we wanted to get rid of these problems, the border issues, and that is the reason why we had given up a land. And since we had to give up a land, that is the reason why we have gone for an constitutional amendment act. Because as per the constitution, article 2, 3 and all, like if you want to give up cede a certain part of territory, it should happen only with the constitutional amendment, is it not? So that is the reason why this happened. So right now there is no disputes. There is no disputes with respect to areas in the border areas. All right. So this is something you have to know that. And you need not by heart. This is not for by heart. Like this is to say that even during the times of East Pakistan, then after the liberation, so we could engage in a lot of processes, and we could able to. So even though you see, Bangladesh was part of Pakistan. So both Bangladesh and India, Pakistan was part of India, like the United British India. Now you see, like one side with respect to Bangladesh, we are able to successfully negotiate and properly demarcate, but with respect to Pakistan, still we have a problem. That is something like I want to convey. All right. And the third one is the socio-economic ethnic transactions. And the third factor which you got to see is socio-economic ethnic transactions. You see, among that, like first of all, there is so much of an cultural connection, ethnic connection, right? Especially in the case of the Bengali connection, that is West Bengal and Bangladesh. So even though they are divided based on religion, but still there is a cultural connection. All right. So these people, they have the same culture. All right. So more or less, like at the time of you see, we have seen like in the case of Pakistan. So in the case of Pakistan, you have the Punjabi connection, right? Not Sikhs. Don't say Sikhism. Pakistan, you have the Punjabi connection. Punjab in India and Punjab in Pakistan. So here, with respect to Bangladesh, you have the Bengali connection. Is it not? This is what. And again, in both cases, it is there is a division based on religion. Fine. And among the socio-economic ethnic transactions, since there is so much thing, so much of a social connection, so much of a cultural connection. and there were a lot of economic activities happening in, but right now it is through the integrated checkpost only. But straight away we go to the issues, like, so because of this connections, socio-economic ethnic connections, now the major problem we face. So because of this thing, Indo-Bangladesh border, it is known to be a porous border. It is called as what? A porous border. Why it is a porous border? Porous border means it has the border, the geography, as well as the social and the cultural connection has enabled the movement of people, enabled the movement of goods legally as well as illegally. So there is so much of a movement happening between Indo-Bangladesh border, thanks to geography, thanks to the cultural connection. But thanking is not good because it has created a lot of problem. So the first among the problem which we're going to discuss under this one, it is the problem of trans-border illegal migration. All right, the problem of trans-border illegal migration. So this is the most important aspect, the problem we face because of Bangladesh in the borders. Yesterday I mentioned about the difference between illegal migrant and refugee. I hope you remember that. I gave a general example of this voluntary movement. Now we have to look into the definition of it. And this definition you have to by heart it, not like the one yesterday. You can write it. I said we have seen with respect to internal security, national security, you can write it on your own. But here, this is a statutory definition. What is the meaning of statutory definition? Means I have taken this definition from the legislation. Now this concept called illegal migrant. Now who is a illegal migrant in India? Who is a illegal migrant in India? In order to know, we have to go to section 2. Section 2, clause 1, subclause B of the Citizenship Act of India. So this was the one which was amended last year, created a lot of controversies. As per the Citizenship Act of 1955, section 2, clause 1, subclause B, it says illegal migrant is any foreigner who entered into India first of all without valid travel documents or those people who entered with valid documents all right, but remain in India beyond the permitted period of time. Beyond the permitted period of time. All right. So what exactly it means? It can be any Bangladeshi who enters into India. They can come with proper travel documents. They can have they would have carried the passport. They would have got the visas. All right. But the thing is that they are overstaying. So this exactly means what? This is nothing but they are overstaying. They are overstaying. All right, so this is what people who overstayed beyond, like, so for instance, they would have come for, say, a travel or for visa, sorry, for tourism or for employment, anything. It may be valid for 2 year, 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, depends on the cases. But the thing is that beyond that permitted period, they are doing it. But in the first case, they have entered illegally. The entry itself illegal. They don't carry anything. And if you want to look into the data, you see the data related to that. With respect to this one, with respect to illegal entry, there is no accurate data. There is no accurate data. Why there is no accurate data? That is not possible, right? It is not possible to find out, like, would the people accept it, like I entered into India illegally with the documents? So it is very difficult to track these people. It is very difficult to find the people, and that is the reason why this concept called NRC was in place in Assam, National Register for Citizens. No, that was in place because it was very difficult to find out who actually belonged to India and who is an illegal migrant. No, but with respect to people who are overstayed, that is very easy because we have all the accounts, right? We know in 1 year, like how many people are entering in and how many people are supposed to exit at a certain point of time. So the data which was recently produced, it was, see, in the year 2017, it was approximately 25,000. I'm giving you the approximate numbers, not the exact numbers. These data, it's not required, like they are not going to ask in the prelims, but this is for an understanding only, for inferring some information only. And in 2018, it was around 50,000. And 2019, till the time the data was provided, I don't know the exact month, like it was approximately 35,000. Understand? So this is year wise people who are overseeing people. So that year, 25,000 people should have been out of, should have gone out of India to Bangladesh, should have returned to Bangladesh, but they are illegally staying in India. After legally entering, they are illegally staying. This is what. So this shows the numbers. Still, people, they are kind of finding a place in India, and they are not. Just a minute. Okay, fine. All right. So how, that's what a how reduction, it depends. Like maybe if you have taken the data full 2019, would have taken it. All right. Maybe people would have returned back. Maybe people that year they are supposed to go, like they would have gone it. All right. What is the concern if the people overseas here? At least we have our economy running without much issues. Who said it? It's your belief, right? It's your belief. Like no, yes, these things refer only to the Bangladeshi thing. All right, fine. Now you see, with respect to like people think that like okay, if an outsider come in, like people will be very happy. Do you think like that? Like maybe you should visit one time to Assam. There is not punishment. They're kind of illegally staying. Like so, if they're illegally staying, they can be punished. That is a penal offense. Definitely, there is a penal offense. All right, but it is very difficult to trace. In India, it is India's a place wherein like you see, if people are let to enter, like it's very difficult to track. You must have seen in a lot of movies also. Even for those citizens who are residing within India, it is very difficult. Like if you want to know like yours, you have to see the case of David Headley. If you have time, like please go on Google David Headley, one of the mastermind behind Mumbai attack. So, and there are a lot of people who impersonate and then like, no, you can. India, you must have seen it in so many cases, right? So they do get other, even for a dog, even for lords. I mean, like even for gods also. Then I said like NRC is bad. NRC is bad in opinion. So NRC, who said it's bad or good? It's up to the opinion. All right. So anything good or bad, it depends on the opinion. And definitely the people of Assam. That's what, like if you want to know like why, what exactly, how exactly the problem of illegal migrants, you should visit Assam only. Then you'll get to know the gravity of the issue. Okay, coming back, I'll discuss those things later on. Now the things why people are reasons. Now we have to know the reasons why they're moving. All right. So, what are the reasons why they move? We have to know the reasons for such people, why people coming to Bangladesh from India. So, basically, there are two things. One, you have to know the push factor and the pull factor. What are the factors which are pushing the people away from Bangladesh? And what are the factors which are pulling towards India? I would like to remind you that, like, so right now, what we are seeing is a situation which has happened for the past 1 or 2 decades. So, even though recently the kind of migration from Bangladesh towards India is very less, in fact, there are cases wherein people are moving back to Bangladesh. There are instances wherein, like, BSF has caught people who was entering into Bangladesh illegally. All right. So, finally, when they get to know that, like, oh, they belong to Bangladesh, that is a legal one. But generally speaking, we are going to see the factors which led to the illegal migrant for the past few decades. All right. So now we'll see the push factor number one. What are the push factor? Why people of Bangladesh were pushed away from Bangladesh? The main reason it was economy. The main reason it was the economy. I am saying it was economy. Bangladesh, even though recently they had a very good economy, even though it is projected to surpass India in terms of per capita GDP. As per the IMF projection, by next year, if things go as IMF projected, it will surpass the per capita GDP, but not in terms of PPP, that is purchasing power parity, that is different. But in one factor, they kind of surpasses it. All right. So people may question, sir, in such a situation, how come you say that like people have migrated? But this is a thing of a past. It have been happening for decades. When I say like the economy of Bangladesh is very bad, there are certain factors which you have to keep in mind. So I'm going to give you the data from World Bank. The data provided by World Bank. You see, World Bank compares data related to income, area, all the factors, human development related factors, and all the factors World Bank used to collect it. As per this one, number one is Bangladesh, it moved from a least developed country, or you can say from a low income country to a lower middle income country only in 2015. India was also not so far, like India was moved from this lower income country to a lower middle income country only by 2008-9. All right. Basically, like the World Bank, it has four such things. Like World Bank, it has something called low income country, then middle income country, and middle income country, it has two slabs, one is lower and upper, and also high income country. That depends on the per capita income. This data is based on the per capita income. If the per capita income is say less than $1,000, I'm saying approximately, don't take this because approximate is exact numbers will be some thousand, hundred, thousand, something like that. This is for understanding only. Again, I'm saying these are approximate numbers, and here it is $1,000 to $4,000. Here it is 4,000 to 12,000, and it is more than 12,000 approximately. So the numbers keep on changing frequently. All right. So Bangladesh has kind of made this gains in development only very recently. Fine. So this shows there was a rampant like people moving. The economy was very bad. And number two, the second factor is the per capita land availability. The per capita land availability. You see the per capita land availability. I'm speaking about arable land. What is the meaning of arable land? Land which can grow something. Land used to grow crops where cultivation is possible. This arable land, this per capita, that is for one person, like per capita land availability is for one person, it is 0.04 hectares. The available land for cultivation per person is 0.04 hectares. India is not so great compared to India. India is, you see, 0.11 hectares. So this is the 2016 data of World Bank. All right. So you see, Bangladesh is one of the most densely populated. It is one of the most densely populated. One of the most. It is not the dense. It is one of the most densely populated, and so I guess it's among the top 10. All right. So that means like even there is so much of an problem related to the standard of living. So very dense population, thereby indirectly, it's not that everywhere there is a dense population there is a bad standard of living. There are small cities wherein it might be good, but I'm speaking here. All right. And the third one, it is about unemployment. Unemployment. So even though right now the employment levels are very high, but still if you see that like most of them they have in the previous decades, in the previous decades they used to involve in hazardous industry. They used to involve in very hazardous industry like shipbreaking industry. All right, mostly unskilled laborers. All right. So there was a huge unemployment, but things have changed right now. So you see right now it has become like as a part of like a textile industry is blooming. All right. And number four on the factor for the bad economy is Bangladesh is very much vulnerable to Bangladesh is very much vulnerable to climate change related rising sea level. mean sea level, MEAN, rising mean sea level. And also it is vulnerable, prone to a lot of natural disasters like cyclones, floods, etc. You see, with respect to climate change related rising sea level, most of the Bangladesh population, they are kind of in the coastal areas along the rivers, so there is a possibility that like a significant portion of Bangladesh would be submerged. Alright, so India also had that Mumbai, Chennai, and all, but still, I'm saying that comparatively. Fine. So these are the reasons which led to the bad economy. These are the reasons which led to the bad economy. Fine. This is one factor. Economy is one factor. All right. Number one is economy. Number two is about the prevailing socio-religious conditions. The prevailing socio-religious conditions. Bangladesh, it is known for two major parties which we'll discuss, like Sheikh Hasina and Khalida Zia. And one party Sheikh Hasina, and the one who is ruling right now, she's kind of pro-Indian, and the other one is pro-Pakistani. I'll mention the name, don't worry. Now, what happens whenever this Begum Khalida Zia comes in, like there is some rising instances of the persecution of religious minorities. In addition to that, there is existing sectarian violence. Sectarian violence is religious minorities. I mean, like uh, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists, etc. In the case of sectarian violence, you see the Shia Sunni Muslim issue, the Wahhabis, but not exactly here like Wahhabis, but to an extent. All right, so these the sectarians examples I have given, and there are a lot of instances wherein there is killing of rationalist or secular people who question the fundamentalism. All right, so India also, you must have seen the cases of Narendra Dabholkar in Maharashtra when they questioned about black magic and other things, so he was killed. So in a country where a specific religion is majority, and when you question some of the some of the events associated with the religion, like so they get killed. Okay, so in Indian case, the same thing like the case of Bangladesh also. So those who question the Islamic radicalism, all right, so they kind of killed. So there are a lot of such instances. So these instances made the religious minorities as well as minorities within Islam, as well as the rationalist people, the bloggers who are criticizing these radicalists to move out of this country. Understand? And this is one of the reasons they have excluded. You know, last year the amendment, why one of the reasons they excluded is because of this religious persecution. But religious persecution strictly it should fall under refugees, only because they are forced to out of it. All right. So this is the second factor. These are the push factors. These are the factors which pushed the people. You see, during the times of like persecution of religious minorities, especially at the time of you got to date back to the time of liberation war when it was there are a lot of problems when it was East Pakistan. Sorry. All right. So during that time, at when you have time, like you just go through that, like how Bangladeshi intellectuals were killed, even from Islam by the West Pakistani people and all. Fine. This is one thing, the social religious thing. And now we're going to see the pull factors. What are the factors which are push factors we have seen? What are the factors which are pulling towards India. What are the pull factors? So the first of the factor is pull factor is the geographical proximity. You see, mostly it is surrounded, the entire Bangladesh is surrounded by either sea or with India. Is it not? So Bangladeshi people have no other country to go join easily. And among the South Asian, this is the nearest, and this is in fact like very easy to cross also, across the land, across the sea also. And secondly, because of the prevailing better opportunities. Better opportunities. What are the better opportunities? Better opportunities in terms of education, employment, and better standard of living. All right, this is what. Understand? Fine. And the next of the pull factor is land availability. So compared to that, land availability is one of the factor, because that is one of the reason why there is so much of people moving to Bangladesh. All right, fine. That is what. So these are the pull factors, and especially like so these are the some of the things which you have to know. All right. What is the one which is pulling towards India? Myanmar to share boundary with Bangladesh. Yes, I did not say no. I never said Myanmar did not share with Bangladesh. No, I am saying that most of the Bangladesh border is either on, you can say, with India or with the coast, that is the coast ocean. There is very little boundary with respect to Myanmar. All right, fine. So you want people to go to Myanmar? Already, people of Myanmar have been thrown, right? And I guess you know about Rohingyas. All right, fine. Okay, next one. The next one is about the migration. So what exactly the impact? Like, so few people have mentioned, sir, that is a good thing, right? So people if come to Bangladesh, they come from Bangladesh towards India. If they're working for a cheap labor, that is good only, right? That is good for economy. You say that, right? But since people have asked, okay, fine. So I'll right now I'll discuss about the consequences of migration. What are the consequences as well as impact? Like consequences, I'm not going to discuss about the good consequences. There are some positive consequences also, but I'm going to discuss about the negative consequences only, because we are going to speak about the security. So how it has created problem with respect to India, Indians, as well as in the few states. So I'm going to focus upon the negative consequences. So when people say about economies, like we are going to have a good economy, right? Yes, definitely. What is it, the economy? When I speak about, we speak about cheap labor, is it not? Bangladesh has a lot of unskilled laborers. These unskilled laborers provide cheap labors. Now this is what happens, people, you see, first generation, in the case of, this is India, this is Bangladesh. So you see Bangladeshi people coming to India. All right, in the first generation, they are skilled mostly in India, they're skilled, so there is no fight for resources. Understand? Please do watch carefully. In the first generation, in Indians, mostly they're skilled, and Bangladesh, there is unskilled, so there is no fight actually. So unskilled laborers, there is cheap laborers, there is no problem, people are happy. You see people working in plantations, people working in agricultural fields, everything. All right. But in the second generation, the people who entered illegally, they make their kids to study. India has provided that thing, right? So education free and other things and all right. Now in that case, like here now there is a competition, because in the second generation both people become skilled, and that is where the problem lies in. Understand? People who question that, have you understood right now? So even though initially it may see okay there is no such problem, but later on it becomes a problem, it poses a problem. Understand? One more question: why Bangladesh was not permitted to settle Rohingyas? They also belong to Islam. Like, okay, it's not about, I said, no, it's not about religion anymore. Like, see, this religious things, all these things are created by the politicians. All right. Now, if you think like you say speak about Pakistan, Imran Khan speaks about always like India is like kind of treating Muslims very badly. Now, Indian Muslims would have been felt that okay, they should have gone to Pakistan and all. I don't know what right. Like you see, like we have a good relation. India has a good relation with Afghanistan. India has a good relation with Bangladesh. Both are Muslims only. If both are Muslims, then why Pakistan, West Pakistan had kind of invaded, created trouble, killed a lot of people in East Pakistan? And if the same Rohingyas, they could have again, like they could have taken back, right? So all these things are not, these things are, I said, geopolitics, nothing to do with religion as such. All right. The only thing is, you see, when since you have asked question about Rohingyas and other things, I said like even though both Rohingyas and illegal Bangladeshi, most of the illegal Bangladeshi migrants, they are from Islam. I said most, not everyone, not everyone. But who deserves some place in India? I said that they are the Rohingyas, because Rohingyas, they are kind of compelled to come out of it. They are stateless, so they deserve some sort of thing. But definitely not the illegal migrants, because people may bring in the card, right? Oh, since because of like you are supporting, you're a Muslim, you're opposing because of Hindu, and that is the reason why I wanted to say this. And secondly, like whatever said by Pakistan, you see, with respect to Pakistan and China, you see the Islamic Republic of Pakistan speaks about Indian secularism, and a communist China speaks about Indian democracy. These are the two most, can say, contradictory irony, is it not? And what basis these people, they have the right to question us? The Islamic Republic of Pakistan questions Indian secularism, and you see, communist China discuss, or you can say questions India's democracy. Fine, all right, it's not like that. In the case of Maldives also, you see, Maldives is completely a Muslim country, Islam country. We have a good relation. The politicians have a good relation. All right, so that is what, like, even Sheikh Hasina has it. Like, so the thing why it is Bangladesh Rohingyas are settled, they're there in Bangladesh, but again, one of the reasons they given in Bangladesh also because of security issues. All right, and Bangladesh doesn't have resources already. Pays, it's kind of jam packed with most population, most densely populated, and that is the reason why. All right, this is number one, economy, and secondly, as a result, there is a scarcity of resources also. So because of this competition and scarcity of resources, you see these people who are illegally migrated, they used to settle in the forest areas, in the revenue lands. So initially there used to be nothing, and later on there used to be scarcity for resources, which is very much evident in the case of Assam. All right, this is one thing. And the third is about the political issues. The political issues, especially when people get voting rights. So somehow they used to, illegal migrants, they used to get it, the voter ID, and people are not ready to share that. People are not ready to share their voting rights, especially political rights, and the changing demographics also. The changing demographics. You see, take the case of Assam. You see, mostly compared to pan India level, there is a huge growth in that area. And especially you see the indigenous people Bodos, they had a less growth rate compared to others, like especially people from Islam, meaning like indirectly coming from Bangladesh. There is a huge growth in that. So growth in population rate also. So a minority becoming a majority, minority becoming majority, and majority becoming minority. So especially with respect to Bodos, like I would like to say, like in a short while we'll discuss that. All right. And number five, it's because of the cultural erosion. So people lose their culture because of the changing demographics also. Now that is where you have to know the differences, like why it's so much of a problem in West Bengal, sorry, Assam compared to West Bengal. Now we'll make a comparison between West Bengal and Assam. I said like the exact numbers of illegal migrants is not known, but in fact, like more than Assam, there are a lot of illegal migrants in West Bengal. All right. So we already seen that like the distance is 2,200 kilometers approximately, and no, I'm sorry, not the distance, the length of the borders. Here it was 263 kilometers only. But why Assam has the more problem, more trouble, despite the fact there is more migrants towards West Bengal than Assam? The first factor is because of the geography. The first factor is because of the geography. When you look into the geography, you see it is mostly plains. It is mostly plains. But in the case of Assam, you see it's most rivers, and especially that area which is between Meghalaya and West Bengal. Especially, you see West Bengal, then Assam comes in, then Meghalaya. So in this region, again after Meghalaya, Assam will be there, a little bit of portion. But this is where rivers form it. And why rivers especially creates a problem, because you see, and if for instance, if this is where like a river runs, River Brahmaputra, now this will be supposed to be the you can say the borders. But sometimes the river will change its course like this one, and sometimes this one. So there will be erosion, deposition, everything. So because of changing river's course, it is very easy for the people also to enter and exit. Understand? So it is difficult to guard the borders also. Physical fencing is impossible. Even though smart fencing is done right now only, recently only, there is so much of a possibility that people used to enter and exit. Understand? This is point number one. And the second is about the land availability. All right. You see, land availability, you see, comparatively, it is again high density. High density meaning what? Less per capita land availability. But here the land availability is again more comparatively more, because it is less dense, and especially you have like, because of again thanks to the rivers, changing rivers, a lot of lands especially for agriculture. And initially I said no, because of the changing river course they could easily change from one place to another place. It's very easy, right? And they could get a lot of lands wherein they can cultivate and then they can survive. And third, about the culture. Third, about the culture. With respect to culture, see, they have this common Bengali culture, is it not? You must have seen the case of West Bengal, like you must have seen in movies also, right? A Bengali vegetarian, they used to take fish also. All right, so that is like something they used to say. It's not like they call it as vegetarian, whatever it is. All right, what is the problem is in the case of Bangladesh, be it Islam, be it Hindu, I said they are divided by religions only, but they have a common cultural thing. All right. So, but in the case of Assam, you see, it's very different. Assam has a lot of different ethnic groups, especially like I have to mention about Bodo people. I said Bodo people, they are the plain tribes of Assam. They are the plain tribes of Assam, tribes residing in the plain areas, and they consider anyone outside Assam to be an outsider. They consider anyone outside the Assam to be an outsider. All right. So this is what. So naturally, these are the problems. Like so, culturally, they're very different. Culturally, we're different. That is the reason why a lot of people have again going through Assam despite a small border, and they are creating a lot of problems also. Understand? PC means per capita land availability, per capita land availability. Understand? So this is a major issue which you have to know that. All right. So this is a major issue with respect to migration. And the second issue, so after the migration we have seen, right? So this is about migration. This is about migration. So we have seen this transport legal migration is a big issue. And the second one which we are going to see is, okay, a few doubts again. So I'll come to the doubts, like I'll finish off this one. I'll maybe like few more doubts are there, like I'll come to that. All right, so the second is about safe haven. So Bangladesh is used as a safe haven. Now, what is the meaning of safe haven means? I've already said like safe haven is a place, a safer place. Here I'm saying a safe haven for terrorists. You see, groups like ULFA. ULFA stands for United Liberation Front of Assam. United Liberation Front of Assam. ULFA demands for a separate country. They want to separate country for Assamese people. So they used to carry out attacks, and after carrying out attack in Assam or any other places, they go and hide in Bangladesh. I said they don't hide in Bangladesh with the support of the government, but without the knowledge, I mean. So ULFA uses Bangladesh as a safe haven. And similarly, groups like IS, recently you see IS, they also had used it. They also had used this as a safe haven. So it is both terrorist as well as insurgent groups. They use Bangladesh as a safe haven. All right, this is one thing. And the third one is, third major issue is, so actually we are seeing the crime pattern only. Right now we'll see the crime pattern. What about the crime pattern? The first among the problem we're going to discuss with respect to India and Bangladesh. Number one, it is cattle smuggling. Unlike any other borders, be it Pakistan and other countries, more than any other neighbors, cattle smuggling is so much rampant, and it is in fact a kind of $1 billion industry. It is $1 billion industry. All right. So this cattle mostly they are smuggled from India to Bangladesh. All right. So the reason is that like one of the reasons. So it's not that either cattle are either the stray cattle which are in the road, as well as it is stolen from the owner also. So mostly this is what, because you see Bangladesh, it fetches a higher market. Like, so if it is say 10,000 here in India, it will fetch some 30,000 there in Bangladesh approximately. I'm saying that. So because of which you see a lot of people have been involved in cattle smuggling. And number two, it is about drug trafficking. And in the case of drug trafficking, you see there is two set of defined patterns. One is from India to Bangladesh. Normally, you see in Bangladesh there is a demand for codeine-based cough syrups. Codeine-based cough syrups. So meaning like the pharma products, the pharmaceutical products are trafficked from India to Bangladesh, and similarly from Bangladesh to India. From Bangladesh to India, you see heroin and cocaine, these things they are kind of trafficked. These sort of drugs have been trafficked, especially from Golden Triangle. We'll discuss about this Golden Triangle in Myanmar. All right. And the third one is human trafficking. That is also to a large extent. In the case of human trafficking, it's mostly from Bangladesh to India. You see, people used poverty and unemployment. All right. So in that, like they used it, and the name of, you say, giving jobs. So in the name of providing jobs, they lure the young women, and finally they push into prostitution. You see a lot of girls, teenage minor girls, have been rescued in cities like Kolkata, even as in south as Chennai also. A lot of cities. All right. So often the people are rescued. So this is how like these people are trafficked without the knowledge. So in the name of providing jobs, the girls are exploited. Understand? This is what. And number four, about money laundering. You see, this is also known for fake Indian currency notes. FIC, and I've already said like now I'll be frequently using. It stands for what? She also mentioned no fake Indian currency notes. And also Hawala transactions. A lot of Hawala transactions happen. And you see like in these areas like money laundering, you see a lot of Ponzi schemes. Like you must have heard about this, no? So a lot of money is laundered illegally, which is used as a source. Like, have you heard about this Ponzi schemes? The Sharda scheme, Sharda chit fund scam. All right. So all those things, Ponzi schemes. It's like at least MLM. You have heard like multi-level marketing. You see, like multi-level marketing means like, so Ponzi schemes means what? Like first of all, there is a set of investors in a group like they'll say that like we'll provide a high rate of interest, 30%, 40% interest to you. So they will get, first of all, initially they'll provide very good interest from A. By getting money from B, they'll give it, and from C they will give it to B. And for D and E again, once they get the trust, what happen after getting all the money, they'll go. This is what happens. These sort of schemes are there, like these are indirectly used to generate a lot of money, which is used by the separatist. Understand? Fine, this is what. And next is the economic and political situation of the country. So economy we have already discussed, right? We have already discussed as a part of migration, and that is the reason we are going to discuss about the political. Bangladesh has two major parties. One, it's called as Awami League, and another is Bangladeshi Nationalist Party. This Awami League, it is head is Sheikh Hasina, the present prime minister, and this case it is Begum Khalida Zia. Why the political situation means, in the neighboring country, Sheikh Hasina, she is the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who is considered to be the father of Bangladesh, Bangabandhu. So that is the reason why she is always pro-Indian. But Bangladeshi Nationalist Party is a pro-Pakistani. It is a pro-Pakistani. These party, they opposed the liberation. So more or less they have a connection with that. All right, so this is what the differences are. All right, so these are the things which you have to keep in mind with respect to India, Bangladesh. All right, so this is what with respect to India, Bangladesh. And so just a minute, like is it possible, like is it possible when I share a video, just let me know whether you are able to see that, like just a minute, like I'll, so just a minute, people. People able to see? And this is how. And no problem, even if delay, what nothing is going to happen, like just for the things like no problem, even if it is a delay, like you see, like new modes of um, just a minute. You see the kind of mode of operation, how do these people operate. And this is how it's all done without damaging the fences using this mode. see how many people are involved in that. Right. So this is how the modus of operation. All right, and you see, like, people used to get it like, I said, it's a $1 billion industry. It's a $1 billion industry means like, recently one person, Enamel Haq, was arrested, and he had some thousands of crores worth properties just by smuggling. All right, and and the reasons being, you see, like, and with respect to cattle smuggling there, like, you see, like, when the cattle is kind of seized and then they kind of sold in auction, these people again they form a cartel and then they buy it, and then again they used to do that. Like, now because of these videos emerged, like, now what happens, the cattle will be made to enter into the river on its own, not they're not doing this one. So they let the cattle to enter, and they'll tie a improvised explosive devices around the neck of the cattle, and if someone tries to catch it, they'll be blown off along with the cattle. All right, so that sort of things are there, and so no, that is it's very difficult because it so happens sometimes with there are corrupt officials in BSF also. So it so happens in that, like, so that is the reason why we are going for smart fencing. All right, that is the reason why you're going to see smart fencing. Now I'll answer the questions here. And few other questions. Uh, Bodo population increased if they consider migrants to be outsiders. I said Bodo population, when did it increase? Like I said, like comparatively compared to Bodo, other people's population rate has increased. All right, that is what, like, so with regard to agriculture, I said there are a lot of agriculture lands because of the changing river course. It keeps on changing, like the depositional features. You must have heard about that, right? The depositional features, especially near to delta, like there is so much of a difference. And in Brahmaputra also, a lot of things, like it's every year it is to change its course. Every year there is to be flood, and that is the reason why these people they go and do agriculture over there. All right, so this is about the Bodo thing. Fine. Any other things you want to know? Fine. Shall we have break right now? We'll meet after the break. All right. Fine. We'll meet after a short break. After 5-7 minutes, we'll meet. Fine. Okay, welcome back, people. The next country we'll be seeing is we'll see Indo-Myanmar. All right, so we'll see Myanmar right now. Right, so right now we're going to see India-Myanmar. As usual, we start with the factors. Number one, about geography. What about the borders, people? What about the states? What about the border states? Now go in order, either from north to south or south to north. So from north, Arunachal, okay, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. Good. All right. So going in order always. So this is what, like Arunachal. The states are Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, and Mizoram. All right. You see, all these are hilly states only. You see, all these are hilly states only. And when you look into the geography as a whole, when you look into the geography as a whole, it is marked by parallel running, which is called as transverse mountains, and rivers which are bordering them, that is the surging river systems which keeps on changing its course, also changing its level also at the time of monsoon, at the time of winters, at the time of summers, fluctuations, and a very dense forest canopy. So it is so thick that the tree top cover is so thick that it is impossible to do an aerial surveillance. It's impossible to do a aerial surveillance. All right. So this is what basically the geography is. So this stretch of this 1643 kilometers, it is difficult to manage. So again, there is difficulty in border management. So geography makes managing the borders difficulty. All right, this is point number one. And the second is we're going to see the history and the status of borders, about demarcation. You see this border, it was demarcated. So this border demarcation was done in 1967 by an agreement in 1967. The Indo-Myanmar border was demarcated and delineated. Demarcated and delineated. So there is no such problem. No such problem in borders, but there is a problem because of the geography only. And the third one, what about the socio-economic ethnic transactions? So here, if you look into that, no, McMahon line is not related here. I'll tell the McMahon line is with respect to China. All right. So socio-economic ethnic transactions, you see India and Myanmar, we have deep cultural ties, religious ties, as well as ethnic ties, as well as ethnic ties. All right. So we share a common cultural history, we share a common religious history, we share a common ethnic history also. You see, that take the case of ethnic, I speak about like religion, it's Buddhism. All right. So when I speak about ethnic, actually, take the case of Nagas. Take the case of Nagas. Naga as a tribes, you see, few organizations, few Naga organizations, they demand for greater Nagalim, is it not? They demand for greater Nagalim. Greater Nagalim's a country for a separate country for Naga people. This greater Nagalim comprises of this greater Nagalim they demand, right? This comprises of states like here it is, say here it is Arunachal, few parts of Arunachal, few parts of Assam, few parts of Manipur, here it is Nagaland, and few parts of Myanmar also. Few parts of Myanmar also. So the meaning is Nagas they are present in Myanmar also. So that is the reason why not just Nagas, there are so many tribal groups. The northeastern tribal groups they share a common ethnicity with respect to the Myanmarese tribes also. All right. So that is the reason why this 1967 boundary, the 1967 boundary, it is referred to an artificial line. It is referred to an artificial line. Why it is referred to an artificial line? Because this boundary 1643 kilometer boundary is there, right? This boundary divides the tribes with strong ethnic linkages. Strong ethnic linkages. Because the boundary divides the tribes with strong ethnic linkages. What is the meaning of it? So the geography, see, the boundary should have been on the basis of ethnicity, but it is actually what? It is actually based on geography. It is actually based on geography. So that is what, like, geographically they are separated, but with respect to ethnicity they are divided. Sorry, united. Understand? So this boundary between Myanmar and India should have been supposed to be on the basis of ethnicity, but they have made it on geography. Understand? This is what. Understand? This is what. Anybody else have audio issues? Someone is saying not audible. Is it fine, right? People, are you able to hear me? All right. So if you have audio issues, please check out with you just text to this team like Shankar team manage this maintenance team. All right, fine. So that is the reason why, in order to facilitate. So the thing is that since you have strong ethnic linkages, we have a concept called free movement regime. We have a concept called free movement regime. Now, what is this free movement regime? as per the free movement regime, you see people of either countries, you see, you take, this is the boundary. All right, this is the boundary. So here it is. So here it is India. Here it is Myanmar. Now people of this India and Myanmar, so people of Myanmar, they can move into Indian territory for 16 kilometers, and similarly people of India, they can move into from this point, from the border 16 kilometers along all these states, from Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. All right, across all these states, people of either, like for instance Myanmar people, they can come to the borders and then they can visit 16 kilometers, and similarly people of India, they can visit Myanmar for 16 kilometers. This is basically provided, this arrangement is basically provided to facilitate trade, to facilitate trade. They can buy and sell the products. Indian tribals, they can go into Myanmar from the border till 16 kilometers, and similarly they can attend family and social functions, since they already have an connection, right? Since they already have an ethnic connection, that is the reason why they can attend it. This is an arrangement, they have it. This is the arrangement, they have it. Fine. So I even mentioned about this Nagaland part, right? You see, people, Naga people, they are there in Myanmar. They can come and attend, and they can go. So normally, this is, you can say, like, a permit is given. This permit is valid sometimes approximately 72 hours, and it depends. So sometimes 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours. It's there, and time and again it comes into force and it is taken also. So you have to keep an eye when it comes in the newspapers. Fine, this is one thing. And the second is about the Rohingya. So like the one which we should not forget is about Rohingya connection. So Rohingyas, who they are said to be, Rohingyas are driven out of Myanmar because they are made stateless. They said they don't belong to, they say they said they don't belong to Myanmar, they belong to Bangladesh, right? So they kind of, they say they belong to Bangladesh. So this is one of the issue because like you see, like Bangladesh means, like Bangladesh was part of United British India, right? So even India has a responsibility. So that is the reason why, like you see, a lot of groups are saying that like India should also take responsibility equally that of Bangladesh also. Understand, these are some of the issues which are happening. Since we have discussed enough with Rohingyas, this is one thing. All right. So this is about the socio-economic ethnic transaction, and you see, because of which, right now we're going to see what about the political and economic situation of the country. Political and economic situation of the country. See, economy is also, it's more or less very bad. It is also more like Bangladesh. It's very worse, in fact. This is also more vulnerable to disasters. In the global vulnerability index, it is very much in the second ranking. Poor, very poor in terms of per capita GDP. It's very bad. All right, but we are not concerned because even though it is very worse, it does not. There is no illegal migration towards India. There is no illegal migration towards India. The reason being is that you see all these states, they are tribal societies. The borders, Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, all these are tribal areas. So people don't migrate to a tribal areas for jobs or other things, right? Is it not? And that is the reason why not my illegal migration is not a great issue. There might be, but that is not a great issue. And coming to the politics, more or less like Pakistan, this is also under the deep state of Myanmar military. The government of Myanmar, it is under the control of Myanmar military. You see, Myanmar was ruled by military people for decades. Myanmar was ruled by military people for decades, and it was called as military junta. It was called as what? Military junta. All right. So this happened in the case of Myanmar. So it was ruled by military people for almost more than 5 decades. All right. So from 1960s till 2010, it was ruled by it. Understand? Fine. So his visa is not renewed. That is a special permit is given. All right. That is what. So this is the concept of deep state. All right. So again, Myanmar is also under the deep state. Myanmar is government. And next we have to find out the crime pattern. And as far as the crime pattern is concerned, you see the major issue first is drug trafficking. Especially this is from towards India, basically the golden triangle, which is called as what? Golden triangle. The countries Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Cambodia. All right. South Asian countries, you see a lot of heroin. All right, cocaine again. So this is one of the things. Most important issue is drug trafficking from Golden Triangle. And second one is it is used as a safe haven. You see, this is also more or less like Indo-Bangladesh border. This is also a porous border. All right, I said because of geography, ethnic connections. Reasons are geography as well as ethnic connections. So that has led to this has led to the insurgent groups. Northeast insurgents use Myanmar as a safe haven. And the best example is take the case of NSCN. There is an organization called NSCN, Kaplang K faction, Kaplang faction. They are also demanding for Greater Nagaland, but they don't kind of engage in talks. Actually, these are anti-talks faction. What they do, see here it is India, here it is Myanmar. Now what they did, NSCN in the year 2015, they attacked Indian army in a place called Chandel in Manipur. And after attacking, what they did, After attacking, they went and hide in the camps located in Myanmar. They went and hide in the camps located in Myanmar. All right, so that is the reason why these Northeast insurgency groups, they used to create violence in India, and they used to go and find a safe haven in Myanmar. And related to that, you have to find out in 2015, we had carried out surgical strike. I'll mention the meaning surgical strike and hot pursuit in terrorism because we will be discussing that, as well as the concept called pursuit, hot pursuit. Please don't ask me right now because this I'll discuss in terrorism, surgical strike, preemptive non-military action, hot pursuit, other things. All right, this is what. And next is and the next one is arms smuggling. Also known as gun running. All right. So mostly arms are trafficked. This is Myanmar. This is China. So China to Myanmar, Myanmar to India. Mostly these light military equipments. Mostly the light military equipments which are made. Understood? Light military equipments are generally made. And next one is and don't forget about money laundering also. Money laundering also happens a lot. So when I discuss about money laundering, mention about fake Indian currency notes. All right. So these are the things which you have to keep in mind with respect to Myanmar. All right. Fine. Fake Indian currency notes. So anything else which you want, like which one you want? After Rohingyas, where it this one, is that the one you wanted? Which force? Okay, forgot. Which force? Like you can write it Assam Rifles. Assam Rifles guards. I forgot in Bangladesh also. Bangladesh, the whole border is guarded by BSF. Here in this case, it's Assam Rifles. Here in this case, it is Assam Rifles. The whole area is guarded by Assam Rifles. All right. In the case of Bangladesh, it is. In the case of Bangladesh, it is BSF. Okay, you want to see this triangle in this one. All right. So any other doubts? Can we go to the next one? People, can we go to the next one? All right, fine. Okay. And yes, weapons reach to the Northeast insurgency through Myanmar. Yes. All right. So illegally they used to, because you see, a lot of people have been involved in that. Like I said, the economy is very bad, and as so people also involved in that. All right. And okay, so now one more doubts also. What is that? How is Hawala transferred? Hawala, like just wait for two classes. Because we're gonna deal that in money laundering. If you really want, like if you're from maybe South India, like or North India, which country? Like there is movie called Shivaji, right? Shivaji movie of Rajnikant. So you can watch that. There they'll mention about Hawala, but again I'll discuss that Hawala in money laundering. Fine. So that is what. So next we'll discuss about Nepal. All right, Indo Nepal. Next one. So as usual, we'll go through the geography first. What about the geography, guys? People, tell me. What about the geography? Okay, starting from west to east. Okay, west, Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Sikkim, West Bengal. Will West Bengal be part of it? West Bengal will be part of it. Yes. Okay, good. Because sometimes people used to miss that. All right, so that is the reason why good. So that's what, like, you see, if you take that, like uh, this part, no, if you consider this one to be Nepal. All right, so here it is. Here it will be UK, that is Uttarakhand. Then it will be Uttar Pradesh, then Bihar, then here West Bengal to an extent, and here comes Sikkim. Right, this is how. And among this, you have this portion, right? This portion, it is full of the plains, the Tarai plains. Here, these foothills, no? These regions, this is called as what? Tarai region. This is called as what? The Tarai region. I guess you must have studied this in geography. The Tarai region. All right. So you see, it has a favorable geography. It has a favorable geography. Now, what does this favorable geography means? In this case, except for this part, this is where like you have hilly areas. This is where you have hilly areas. All right. But rest apart, you have a favorable geography. But despite having a favorable geography, we did not fence it. So we have a favorable geography, but despite that, we did not fence it. But despite that, we did not fence it. We have to see that why there is no fencing. All right, fine. So Indo-Nepal border is guarded by Shashastra Seema Bal. Indo-Nepal border is guarded by Shashastra Seema Bal. Like Kalimpong is also part of it. Kalimpong is also part of it only. Bangladesh only. Fine. This is Shashastra Seema Bal. We'll see that like why. So for which we have to look into the historical evolution of borders. The second component is the history or the legal status. History or the legal status. We'll see that. All right. Fine. In the case of history or the legal status, you see, Indo-Nepal today's boundary, it is based on the 1816 Treaty of Sugauli. All right, Treaty of Sugauli. Fine. Now, this, okay, so there is a mistake. This is, All right. This Sugoli Treaty, it was signed almost more than 2 centuries back, by which what happened? Nepal gave almost two-thirds of its area, all right, to the British India, not presently, to British India. Now there is a dispute. So since there, like till the time of independence, there is no such dispute. What we have today is, you see, in this case, like this is Indo-Nepal boundary, right? Now the western part of the boundary, what they said, this is the part like they said, like it is River Kali. This forms the border. This forms the border, and now there is a problem. The present problem is, where does Kali River originates? Where does River Kali originate? Why? Because you see, Nepal says that it is like this one. Nepal says it is like this. Kali River originates here, but India says the other way. This is what Nepal's claim, and this is India's claim. So India claims Kalapani to be the point of origin, whereas Nepal claim that place is called as Limpi Limpiadura. Limpiadura. All right. Just mention as Limpi. All right. So this is what the differences are. Like so the differences are originating with respect to the claim. But I said this is very insignificant. That is very insignificant. A country like Nepal, I said it's a landlocked country, has to depend on India, and India is also providing like if you look into the arrangement India and Nepal has, this is very insignificant problem. I said this is more a political problem only with Nepal, because there is going to be elections and also it's kind of raised by that thing. But apart from that, this is not much of an security aspect with respect to borders. So it's not going to result in any clash or something like that. The reason being is that Indo-Nepal border is called as an open border. Indo-Nepal border is called as what? Open border. Why it is called as an open border? Because of the fact that there is a treaty between India and Nepal. Now, what is the meaning of this open border means? You see, all you have between that is, see, in the case of like, just take like all you have is pillars. So pillars named like 1, 2, 3. All right. So all you have here is what? In the borders of Indo-Nepal, it is pillars. Whereas take the case of Indo-Bangladesh border. So Indo-Bangladesh border, like you have like all those fences. All right, you must have seen those fences, right? Is it not? So this is Indo-Bangladesh or Indo-Pakistan border, but this is Indo-Nepal border. So all you have is pillars and like the fences. Now, why such an arrangement is given? Why such an arrangement is given? Because of the fact that there is a treaty which is known as Indo-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship. Indo-Nepal Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1950. So as per this treaty, the citizens of both the countries, the citizens of both the countries are given equal rights, are given equal rights in the matters of, in the following matters, in the matters of movement, residence, acquisition of property, acquisition of property, as well as in employment also, as well as in employment. All right. So the Indo-Nepal Friendship Treaty in 1950, it provides equal rights to citizens of both the matters, meaning what? In India, these rights which are normally provided to the citizens, like Article 19(1)(a). All right, so 1A is about freedom of speech and expression, like about like assembly, association, labor, like 19(1)(a), B, C, D is there, right? D, G, and all it's there, right? So this is what, whatever it is available to the Indian citizens as a matter of right, that is extended to Nepal. Similarly, Nepali citizens also has the same right along with Indians. So I mean, sorry, Indians can go into Nepal. Indians can go and buy property. We can reside there. That is all provided. Why? Because there's also kind of friendship. Like you see, we also share a strong historical cultural relationship. We even had like the Gorkha regime dedicated like at the time of independence also. So because of that, like we let it open. Fine. So since we have let it open, I said we have to take care of it. All right. Now, one of the other aspects like you have to keep in mind with respect to open means open, when I speak about it, open, it is with respect to people and goods, there is a difference. So people can move any point in the border, across the border, whereas movement of goods only along 22 designated transit points. 22 designated transit points. All right. So even though it is said to be open border, I don't mean that open border means like it's not patrolled. It is still patrolled. All right. So the moment is there, like it's there. But thing is that you can visit without visas and then you can have all those rights. But with respect to movement of goods, it is restricted because it's not be used as a illegally smuggling and all. But unfortunately, it happens. All right. And number four, about the political and economic situation of the country. When we look into the political and economic, because economy we are not concerned, because whatsoever the bad economy, we have let in the people of Nepal to come in and we are also going there, so we are not concerned about the economy, understand? So we are going to see the political situation. You see, political situation is, it is kind of tricky only. Nepali politics known for instability. Nepali thing, it is known for instability. So Nepal was ruled by a monarchy. Nepal was ruled by a monarchy. All right. So you see, Nepal, it was a constitutional monarch. So Nepal was a constitutional monarch. Nepal was a constitutional monarch, and it was from 1990s. and later on it turned to a constitutional monarch to a constitutional democracy, constitutional monarch to a constitutional democracy in 2006. All right, this transformation, so there was a civil war and all demanding democracy. Like what happened since 2006? Like you see, since this transformation from monarchy to a democracy that demanded new constitution, right? So that new constitution, for framing the new constitution, India has also helped through for in this constituent assembly. Nepal had its constituent assembly, so India had helped in framing new constitution also. But the fact is that like Nepal has two major parties. One is Nepali Congress, and another is the Maoist party. So here they're concerned to be pro-Indian, and here they consider to be pro-Chinese. And right now also you have the support of the Maoist only, and that is the reason why these map issues and other things are also there. They change the map and other things. All right. Now, while this transition, you see, when I speak about instability, in the last 10 years, this transition, last 10 years, 12 years, there were 8 prime ministers and 4 presidents. So, such is the instability of Nepal. Such is the instability of Nepal. And along with that, already existing issue of Madhesi, like I know, have you heard about Madhesi issue? The Madhesi people of Indian origin. All right. So they have, I guess you must have studied that in bilateral. If not, like please go through that. That is also one of the important issues. But that is in my bilateral. It's not with respect to security. All right. So those things are there. Like these are the reasons for this political instability. So we have to wait and watch what happens, because an unstable Nepal will lead to advantage China. All right, because like Nepal lies in a very important geostrategic location. So even the geography, you can say that like it is important. It is strategy. It is a very important geostrategic location from India's perspective. So it acts as a buffer. It acts as a buffer between India and China. It acts as a buffer between India and China. All right. This is what. And lastly, you have to know the crime pattern. What about the crime pattern? So the crime pattern is, first of all, like Nepal being an open border. You see, being an open border, first problem it will be what? Nepal is used as a safe haven. Nepal is used as a safe haven by whom? So it was in the year 1980s. 1980s, you know who was at the peak? The Khalistani. So the Khalistani separatists, they were kind of using Nepal as a safe haven. And in the 1990s, it is the Kashmiri separatists who are using as a safe haven. All right. So in 2000s, that time it was Ulfa also. And in 2000s, like along with Kashmiri, like mostly the Northeast insurgent groups, the Northeast insurgent other groups, they use it like NDFB, Ulfa, etc. So these organizations, they use Nepal as a safe haven because it's an open border, right? It's very difficult to track. Understand? So because being an open border, it forms an easy entry and exit. Easy entry and exit, ingress and egress, like, understand? This is one thing, and second major issue is drug trafficking. So in the case of drug trafficking, it's more or less like Bangladesh only. You see like pharma products mostly, and similarly from Nepal to India, and the other drugs like heroin, etc. So more or less like Bangladesh only. And definitely this is a preferred route for bringing in fake Indian currency notes. Fake Indian currency notes, you see, people used to say that like Nepal is the best place. It is the best route to come into India also to escape also. I guess people know about Nityananda, right? One famous person in Tamil Nadu. This guy Nityananda, the self-styled god man, no? This guy like so he has left India through Nepal. It is said that it is suspected. It is said that like he has left India through Nepal route only. All right. So this is something like so Nepal is the best route like to come legally also to enter out also. Yes, right now he is in Ecuador Island, but I'm saying that how he escaped, that is a possible. This is not established, but I'm saying that. All right, so this is just to say that like how vulnerable Indo-Nepal border is. How vulnerable Indo-Nepal border is. All right, fine. So right now we'll see the PPTs. All right. So any other doubts you have, like so while I go through the PPT, just let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, this is about Indo-Nepal. All right. So Indo-Nepal, you see, look into the geography. You see, this is what the geography of Indo-Bangladesh is. Sorry, just a minute. Okay. So this is what exactly the look into the geography, the map, and everything. And you see this part. Just a minute, I'll take this one. This is the part I was mentioning. This area. This is where like mostly the problem is the rivers. You see this area. This area is only where now the project bolt quit is also kind of done. All right. All right. So these rivers here, this area here is also Assam plains, but here most of the movement happens through like this one. All right. Fine. And this is the terrain map. Like you see, mostly people used to make a mistake that Tripura is a hilly. You see, this is not Tripura is not a completely hilly state. It's full of plains. Whereas on the hand of Mizoram, Meghalaya, you can see that hills. But here it is. You see, this is the terrain map which shows that it's all full of plains. Fine. Understand? And this is the length of the border we have seen. And you see, the Indo-Bangladesh border, like yesterday also I mentioned, it is more based on it is mostly based on the McMahon line only. All right. So even in the time of independence only, we had a little issues. You see, the case of Pakistan. See, Pakistan. You see, Lahore was a significant Sikh cultural center which was given to Pakistan. But you see, there is a place called Gurdaspur in Punjab. Gurdaspur was given to India. All right. So there were such problems, smaller issues. So normally the division should be that like an Hindu majority region should be given to India, and a Muslim majority region should be given to Pakistan. This is related to princely states. Sorry, British provinces, not related to princely states. Fine. All right. Socio-economic ethnic transactions, I said no. So that is what like we have seen till now. So why we don't not speak about socio-economic ethnic transactions? It's already there historically. We share a common cultural, religious things and everything. Since we have opened up the borders, we not speak specifically. All right, already we have opened up the borders, right? We have open border. That is the reason why. You see, and similarly in this case, like here at this place is called as Murshidabad, which is a kind of Muslim majority given to India. And similarly, this Hindu majority Kulna was given to Bangladesh, and similarly a Buddhist majority Chittagong. All right, this Chittagong hill tract was given to Bangladesh. All right, so these sort of problems happen, but these are small issues. But beyond that, like we have kind of concluded, and this is what enclaves. Like India had a lot of enclaves here and there, and you can see these points, right? So points here, most enclaves here, here. All right, all these enclaves we have enclave. For instance, India has given more land than what it has acquired. This is what India has given more land than what it has acquired, but it is fine. Like let it be, because like we always wanted to solve it, and this is what. And with respect to boundary, this is what the boundary look like. So you see, very near to the what is called a zero line. So zero line is not nothing but, and zero line is nothing but wherein you have the borders. This is called as, this will be called a zero line. Zero line means, zero line means like wherein you have, this is Bangladesh. Sorry, this is India. This is Bangladesh. All right. So what will happen? You see, like very near to the zero line, you have fences. Very near to the zero line, you have fences. All right, and later on, you see like it's very difficult if you have very agriculture fields very near to that. Like it's very difficult to patrol. It's very difficult to patrol this. All right, and in some areas you could see that like because of a delay in land acquisition for fencing and other things, all you could see is pillars. This is what I said, no, pillars. Like this is what most the case of Nepal also, but in few areas in Indo Bangladesh also you have these pillars. Fine, fine. This is what, and as far as the migration factor is concerned, like migration, I said like migration is as high in West Bengal as in Assam. You see, but these numbers, these are assumptions only. These are assumptions only. The exact numbers are not known. I said they come illegally, so the exact numbers are not known. So these are estimates only. These are not exact numbers. These are estimates only. Fine. And so we have seen these all these factors. All right, and this is about India, Bangladesh. All right, nothing to share here. Like and maybe normally I don't think so. PPTs will be shared actually. All right. So whatever it is you have the doubt, like I'll show it to you. Fine. And the next is with respect to India, Myanmar. All right. With respect to Indo Myanmar, this is what. So Indo Myanmar, like this is what the stretch is. And these areas you see like it's full of forest geographies like that. Like we have seen all the ties and all. And this is where like it matters. You see, this is where this 2015 surgical strike happened. All right, surgical strike happened wherein like after creating trouble, they kind of went into Myanmar. All right, so this is part of, I said no, Greater Nagalim. So the demand is for Greater Nagalim. So Greater Nagalim demand includes. So the reason we have said like it is forms an artificial border, right? So even though we have settled the border dispute, still we call it as an artificial, and because this division is more based on, this division is more based on geography rather than ethnicity. All right, so that is the reason why, despite the fact that we have demarcated, still it is considered to be one. All right, even in like Myanmar also there are a lot of ethnic issues. All right, so you take the case of Pakistan, we have seen like the Sindhis, the Baluchis, and the Pashtuns. They are demanding for autonomy, separate country, and all. Similarly, Myanmar is also known for, even though it is a Buddhist country, it is known for a lot of ethnic groups, and these are demanding more like Northeast insurgency. They are demanding for their own state, or a separate country also. Fine, this is what. And Rohingyas we have seen, and this is what the political instability is. It like Myanmar was ruled by military junta, military government for more than 5 decades, and now even though there is a transformation after, and after this 2011 elections, even though the elections had resulted in the party of Aung San Suu Kyi to take over, but she was denied taking the prime minister, like because of some changes made in the law. Deliberately, it was made by the Myanmar's military. So still the key portfolios means with key ministries, like we call it as India Railway Ministry to be a key ministry, finance to be a key ministry, right? So those key ministries are still under the control of army. So it's very difficult for so you that is the reason why I say it's not a truly democratic. It is, even though they call it as a democracy, but it is under the deep state of Myanmar. All right. So then we have seen the crime pattern, drug trafficking, especially the narco terrorism means like there is terrorist activity for fighting who has to control the narco thing. All right. So we'll discuss that in terrorism as well as in organized crime. So the golden triangle. This is a golden triangle. So you see those heroines, especially those natural drugs like heroin, cocaine, they used to derive from opium as well as cocaine plant, cocoa plant. So that is coming from the golden triangle. Fine. So and also they're getting arms also. So arms they're getting it from the northeast through Chinese provinces. They're coming. You see, the reason why they're involved in a lot of things because in Myanmar, I said it's already a very bad economy. The employment is rampant over there, huge unemployment. So people instead of moving, like they used to involve in these sort of smuggling. All right. So this is what, and with respect to India and okay. So some questions have been asked like, won't the surgical strike attract ceasefire violation? No, you first of all you have to know that like what exactly, then you can have an idea about it. Don't worry. I'll tell that surgical strike, how it is different. I'll tell those things. All right. And what was the point regarding agriculture, Assam and Bangladeshi migration? I said like which one? No, you're asking about agriculture, Assam and Bangladeshi migration. I said, see, migrants compared to West Bengal, there is a lot of land available for agriculture in Assam. Compared to West Bengal, there is a lot of land available with respect to agriculture in Assam. That is the point I made it. All right. And next is with respect to Nepal. You see, Nepal, Indo-Nepal, like it's just full of. This is what the terrain is. So this is what you see the Tarai region. Except these areas where it is very difficult, but rest apart it is very fine only. All right, but you see, this is what you see along the pillars because of the open borders. We did not try to create fences across it. All right. So it's not fencing is not so fully right. Like it's all you have. It's these sort of pillars just for demarcation, just for demarcation. And these are some of the points. You don't need to remember these things are all just for the map. So these are the points wherein the movement of goods are allowed. All right. These are the movements points wherein movement of goods are allowed. And this is a disputed area. You see, Lipu Lake Pass. It's a very important pass with respect to Kailash Mansarovar. I have mentioned about that. I mentioned about just a minute. So I have mentioned about Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Is it not fine? So this is what this river Kali, which is kind of a problem because like India says that like Kali starts from the eastern part, like whereas they say it's starting from the western part. This is a disputed area. All right, Lipu Lake Pass and Nathula Pass is very important with respect to the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. And Susta issue is also kind of occasionally that is right. That is not a great issue. SUSTEA. And you see, like, but India, Nepal, we share like with respect to bilateral relation. You see that like we are kind of first responders in the case of response. But after the Nepal earthquake and after the Madhesi issue, like this is what the world media has portrayed. The world media has portrayed that okay, you are like Nepal is at the mercy of India kind of thing. So this is what after the Madhesi issue, after this thing. So you see, like bilateral, this is also bilateral as well as security issue. Nepal often keeps on changing its stance. Like sometimes it's pro India, sometimes change to China. So since Nepal is a kind of buffer, like we are very much concerned. All right. So it's full of roses and thorns actually, and we spoke about the this political instability also. The political instability from the transformation of monarchy to you see from monarchy to a constitutional democracy. This transition is still in this transition, like instability. Maybe we have to wait and watch what happens. All right. And so whenever you write about Nepal thing, like be it in bilateral, be it in internal securities, you got to write about that, like Nepal's geostrategic location. So how China has influenced, we'll see that in next class. So how China influences neighbors, like especially in the case of Bhutan, Doklam issue. It happened 3 years back, Doklam. So how it has built roads in the tri-junction between India, Bhutan, and China. So after which India kind of went for a help with Bhutan, the standoff. Similarly, Nepal also knows that, like if Nepal is kind of more lenient towards China, they will give more money, and then definitely they will make them under the control. So so Nepal cannot you can say compete, like, but India, you see, on compassionate grounds, on historical grounds, we share a lot of common history. So we are doing that. Like, so whatever the you can say help we are doing it, be it line of credit, be it kind of granting loans, soft loans, and other things, like it is very different from what China does. China gives loans ultimately with the aim of taking the property back so that they could use that as a strategic grounds. Fine, this is what, and this is what with respect to India, Nepal. So hope you have understood. Hope you have enjoyed the class today. All right. No, Shashastra Seamable not required right now. Why Shashastra Seamable not required right now? Because we'll discuss that this concepts in security forces. Right now, it is not required. All right. Right now, it is not required. Open border with Nepal also poses possible threat of infiltration from China, at least if in more. Okay, fine. So why are we still having a friendship treaty despite the threat to internal security? See, the thing is that, like, again, don't make the mistake of infiltration from China. Mostly, like, even though it's interchangeably used, like, try to use the word incursion. All right. I said infiltration normally done by the insurgents or the terrorist groups or the separatists. Fine. And why still we have the friendship? Because if you the moment, you should think for a moment, like if you take friendship treaty, definitely China is waiting for such a moment. China is waiting for such a moment. If you revoke friendship treaty, next China will make a friendship treaty towards Nepal, and then they will take control of it. Would you want that to happen? Just think about it. Like, don't think that, okay, if that is, like, yes, internal security threats are there, like we have to look at it. But China is, like, Nepal is a buffer. Nepal is a geostrategic place. But any move, if not done properly, that could be very detrimental. Understand? That's what. And what is line of credit? So that is line of credit loans means it's just credit which is given. I guess you must have studied that in bilateral also, and in economics also. Line of credit is nothing but a credit which is given for a friendly country. You see, this happens with other, like India used to buy a lot of amount as a loan from Japan, and we used to give loan to countries like Bangladesh, smaller countries. That is all called as diplomacy. All right. So we used to get, like, it's people used to ask, like, sir, we are already having so much of a loan to be repaid, but in the time, why should we give? Now, this happens normally also, right? Now, it's not like, now we used to get money from those who are wealthy, and we used to give money to those who are poorer than us. This is not. This so happens. All right. Whether Nepal has fenced or open border with China, like no, I guess that is, its fencing is not completely possible with respect to China. And you see, like with respect to Nepal and China border, it is mostly the Himalayan things are there. And I don't think so. Like it's all you have passes. All you have passes. But that area, we never know that. Like even if China kind of controls or does that, like it is very difficult. Maybe we can find it from GPS. We can find it from Google Maps whether they have made any roads or controlled. Only then we can know that. But apart from that, there is not complete fencing. So it's only in the borders, like in the road area, there is kind of maintenance of troops. Rest apart, it's not there. All right. Is the military in Myanmar dominant since Indo-Burma War? No, not because of that. Not because of that. Like even That is up to see. The military coup happens. The military coup happens. That happened in 1960s, right? Military coup happens just out of you can say the because of the thirst, power thirst, military generals. Nothing more than that. Understand? So, won't the surgical strike affect ceasefire violation? I said surgical strike is very different from ceasefire violation. First of all, you have to know. After learning it, you can learn. All right, fine. Any other doubts, people? I hope you enjoy the class today. So a lot of new terminologies you have learned and a lot of new borders, a lot of geography also, a lot of history also. Yes, thank you, people. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Okay, fine. Thank you all. Thank you all. One question. So with respect to Nepal, you said despite favorable geography, we don't have something. No, that's what. Despite favorable geography, you can go for fencing. We did not have fence. We did not have fence. That is what I said. What we have is pillars only, not fences. All right. Nice. Have a great weekend, people, and have a great week ahead. Enjoy, enjoy studying. All right, and take care. Stay safe. Stay at home. Thank you. My name is Karthikeyan. I did not say my name. My name is Karthikeyan. All right, fine. Team, please do wind up.